find a way to train them, perhaps desensitization, counter conditioning, those sorts of things to get the dog so he's not so aroused at that time. Forcing them to chase balls and to run again is stressful. If they run on their own, that's fine, but if we try to make them run, that's where the problem comes in. Forcing them to meet dogs they don't like. Dogs should never meet dogs on walks. Dogs should learn how to pass a dog calmly, totally avoiding the dog, just walking past. If you start to let your dogs meet dogs on walks, you're only asking for problems that you're going to have to correct later. So I would just keep right on walking and not meet the dog. If the person wants to meet the dog for whatever reason, just let them know you're in training and you can't stop. Overstimulation and not enough quality sleep is definitely not fun for dogs. It's actually dangerous for dogs. Some dogs have died because they didn't have enough sleep. Overstimulation, again, what we're trying to do here is reduce the stress, not create more. Overstimulation will definitely create more stress for your dog. Overtraining and forcing them to compete. There's some other things that are not fun for dogs. An overtrained dog is a stressed dog. Manners are important, but training to the point where a dog's health is at risk is not a good idea. Forcing them to compete is never a good idea. A lot of times competitions are more for humans than they are for dogs. If you're able to walk into the ring and say, and notice that your dog is feeling stressed that day and he's not quite up for it, and if you're okay with leaving the ribbons behind and walking away, then good for you. Maybe competing's okay. Maybe your dog really does enjoy it. But remember, he's going to have off days and days he really doesn't want to be there. Those are the times we have to recognize and just walk away. So too much training, too much competition is stressful on dogs. Let's let them make some choices. Boredom and loneliness. This is also very stressful on dogs. Think about it. If you're bored and lonely, you'd be stressed. So your dog is too. Like again, they're social animals and they want to be with us. They want to spend time with us. Any sudden change in environment is very stressful for a dog. Dogs don't generalize well, and dogs get used to things in a certain routine, a certain time, and when things change, that's a big upset for the dog's lives. If we take them to places that they're not well socialized to and they don't necessarily like, well, that's going to be stressful for dogs. So what we can do to reduce that is build them up very, very slowly with some desensitization and make things really pleasant. A lot of food treats, getting people to feed them treats, whatever the case may be, but getting them socialized in a nice, enjoyable manner. If your dog is not being trained or raised properly, he doesn't have proper leadership in the home, that's very stressful on a dog. I see a lot of people who ask their dog to do things that they've never even trained their dog to know. For example, people will, well, you've seen them, sit, 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 come on, sit, sit. And they just keep saying sit to the dog, but I ask them, have you trained them that? And they say, well, no, but he should know how to do it. Well, why should he know how to do it? If we want the dog to know something, we need to train them. Or they'll say, come, and then they'll get angry when the dog doesn't come. Oh, gee, do you normally have a good recall? What's a good recall? Never worked on that. You see, so everything we need the dog to know, we need to train them first. Dogs don't do things because they're stubborn and they're trying to undermine our authority. They do it because they don't know any better. You have to train and repeat and reward, and that's the key. So don't expect the dog to do something unless you know you've done the work ahead of time. Now, a dog that's not being treated properly for health is obviously could be a stress dog. For example, if he's in pain, pain is going to make him stressed. You know, arthritis, there's very good treatments out there today for arthritis. You can talk to your vet about that. And I think it's much better to have a dog on the proper pain medication and control his pain in his older years or during illness than to say, well, perhaps down the road it could affect his liver or his kidneys and he may not live quite as long. I would rather see them live perhaps a little bit less long but have a healthy, happy life. Mental issues too. Sometimes we deal with severe mental issues. Sometimes they're mild. They're just separation distress or some separation anxiety and those type of things. But sometimes we deal with some real phobias in dogs, some real OCD. And these dogs are in a state of fear and they need to be treated. And there are medications available for that. And these are very legitimate reasons for a dog to be on medication. There's times I've had to recommend it, and I know cases of dogs jumping through a window for noise phobia, for example. That's a dog that needs to be treated. We can work on it behaviorally, but we need some medication in the interim so that we can bring the stress level down enough so that we can start to work with the dog. A stressed dog cannot learn. We just talked about what's not fun for a dog. And by the way, I would really encourage you to go back to that slide at the end of this course and review it and see if there's something in there that your dog may fall into one of those categories, something that you may be able to work on with your own dog. We all have things we can work on to improve our dog's life. So what do dogs really like to do? Well, one thing they really like to do is explore with their noses. A dog's nose is the most highly developed sense. It's very different from a human. When a human walks into a room, they usually look around with their eyes. When a dog walks into a room, he'll put his nose in the air and he'll take in all the scents. They really need to be able to do this. It's such a highly developed and unique thing that they have. It would be like having a bionic nose for us and never being able to use it. They need to go out and do that. We actually have some upcoming slides on nose work and the importance of it, so we're going to leave that for now. Dogs like to chew. And again, dogs need to chew. Dogs need to chew. Why? Well, because it's one of the only ways that dogs have to relieve their own stress and their own boredom and to relieve some energy. Just think about it. What can a dog do when he feels stressed? Can he go make himself a cup of tea? Can he go give himself a nice bubble bath? The poor guy can't even take himself for a walk. So we have lots of different things we can do when we feel anxious or stressed or we just need to unwind. But what does a dog have for choices? He has choices that he can chew. So it's really vital that we teach dogs to chew, that we teach them to chew the appropriate things, and we have lots of different and very interesting things on hand for them to chew. They need bones. They need fresh bones every couple of weeks. They get They get old and boring after a while, and we need to replace these. We need some good, strong chew toys. We need different kinds. We need to put these in a toy box so the dog knows where they are. Remember, dogs don't have the power of reasoning that we have, so they can't reason through their mind where they last played with that and where they last chewed it and where they're going to go and find it. So, at the end of the day or throughout the day a few times, we pick everything up, we throw it back into their toy box so they know where to go when they feel that need to chew. So this is a great stress reliever, and if your dog doesn't seem like he likes to chew, then teach him. This is something we can teach our dogs. Make it fun for him and make it interesting. Dogs like to go for walks with us. They like to play games with us. They like to relax with us. You see a theme here? They want us to be in tune with them. It's just like when spending time with kids or friends or loved ones, anyone, they want us to be all there, not texting or emailing somebody while we're spending time together or texting at the table and these kind of things. Dogs, it's the same thing. We should spend quality time with our dogs. And I love this picture of this person and their dog being in tune with each other, just sitting back, looking at whatever it is they're looking at. They're taking the sights in together. They're totally relaxed and calm and quiet. And this is so important for our relationship with our dogs. Think about it. Have you done this today? Have you done it yesterday? Have you done this with your dog all week, all month? Do you ever do this with your dog? I mean, this is important. We need to be in tune with them. So going for a walk means being with them. What are they interested in? Where can we take them to go sniff? Games, playing games with us. The toys are not fun just sitting in a box. They need us to engage. So we need to come up with ways to make it fun for them. And time just to relax. Sometimes you sit and read a book and your dog wants to lay at your feet. That's good quality time too. Dogs really, really need this. So dogs need to dig and dogs need to find things. Yes, they do need to use their mind. They do need to relieve energy. They need to have a life. So we're actually going to talk, as I mentioned earlier, about how to build a nice digging pit in your yard. And so we'll go over that on an upcoming slide. Dogs like to have play dates with dogs they get along with, well socialized, friendly dogs. This is a whole dynamic to their life that they really do need. It's socialization is wonderful. Of course, you want to do it, like I said, with dogs they actually enjoy. Forcing a dog to be with other dogs when he doesn't want to be is going to put your dog under stress. Now, not all dogs are social butterflies, just as not all people are social butterflies. Some people prefer to be by themselves more, and some dogs the same. So it's all an individual thing. If your dog really is uncomfortable around other dogs and you've worked and worked and worked at it and he still just prefers his own company, then that's fine. But most dogs can be socialized, at least to have a few good doggy friends that they could play with. Dogs like to have a job to do, and this is not something that is going to be difficult or hard or anything stressful for the dog, but dogs like to feel useful. You know, some dogs enjoy, they actually love going into the nursing homes and the hospitals to be therapy dogs. They know they're doing a job and they know they're doing a good job and it's important. They have a sense and they know this. And, you know, you can't train a dog to be a therapy dog. He either is a therapy dog or he isn't. It's just like with people. You either have this or you don't. And that's the way it is with those kind of jobs. So maybe he's not cut out for a therapy job, but, you know, back in the old days, people used to say, teach your dog to bring your slippers, teach your dog to bring the newspaper. Those were actually really good things to do because the dog felt useful. One of my dogs that have passed on now, Ben, a big brindle male that we had, he loved to be my first aid demo dog. Now, you might think that sounds strange and perhaps a little anthropomorphic, and perhaps it is, but he enjoyed it so much. When he put his vest on and out we went to do the first aid course, he was just prancing and appeared to be, you know, proud and lively and happy. And when he was doing the class, he really just seemed to enjoy it. You know, people could do anything to him. We could wrap him up in umpteen different styles and he just loved it. And when he came home, he just slept like a baby. So they like to have jobs to do. But to find that job, you know, that's the challenge because each dog is different. Each dog has their own personality. So we have to find what suits that dog best. Dogs like to learn new things. Yes, they really, really do like to learn new things. It builds confidence in dogs, and this is really important. It uses their mind. They feel good. They feel happy. This is one of the best things we can do for our dogs is teach them new things. And again, not overtraining. Overtraining and overcompeting can be stressful on dogs. But teaching them new things is important. And we can all add a couple new things to our dog's repertoire, I'm sure, if we think about it. So these are some of the things that dogs really like to do. A dog's curiosity. Dogs are born very curious animals. And a lot of people have issues with that. But let's talk about that. If we embrace it and don't restrict it so much, this is going to be so much healthier for the dog. It's hard when, let's say, you bring a bunch of grocery bags in the house, the dog wants to see, hey, what's that? What's in there? And we just restrict them. No, 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 get, go lay down, go to your mat, go to your place. Why not just let them have a gander around and have a look? They're not going to get anything out and eat it in front of you. It's not a big deal. You know, some of these little things perhaps we worry too much about. Same thing for kids. I have teenagers now, and they're still curious when I bring bags in the house. What's that? What did you get? You know, just let them have a look. When dogs are curious, it is a good starting point to work on a lot of issues. I said I was going to give you some tips on how to deal with fearful dogs that don't want to take treats and don't want to engage. And this is where we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to use the dog's curiosity for that. So let's say you bring a dog home, a new dog, into your house, and he